Hello, I am Dr. Keyonda Smith. I am a digital health and accessibility consultant in the Washington, D.C. area, where I ensure that all digital products are accessible for everyone. Please join me on the Black Doctors Talk podcast.
Where does it all begin for you? You can go as deep as you want, as far back as you want, whatever you want to, wherever you want to start. The next question I will ask will pick up where you leave off after the first question.
Okay, great. Well, I'll try not to make it too long, but I'm originally from Camden, New Jersey, and as a kid of the 80s, I always wanted to be an attorney, and most likely it was due to my exposure to shows like Ally McBeal, LA Law, and of course, Law and Order. We can't forget about that. They made being a lawyer look suspenseful and sometimes even glamorous. They had high-rise offices and mysterious fact patterns and intra-office dramas. And this was enough to get me to commit to the answer of lawyer whenever people asked what I wanted to be when I grew up. Now, although I always envisioned lawyers as extremely busy, the prime time episodes that I watched, they didn't include the grittiness and the poverty of being a lawyer. And the exhausting law school experience, the student loans that realistically you'll never be able to pay back, and just never making enough to pay back, and having those, employer frustrations. And honestly, at that time, I just didn't know what being a lawyer entailed. And growing up, I didn't know any lawyers. So to me, becoming a lawyer was, kind of making it big. It was different. It was the ultimate sign, I guess, of success in our family. Being impressionable, I was unfortunately a product of my inner city environment, and I found myself miraculously pregnant at 15 with it.
Right there. So we haven't started. You're going to tell that story when I ask you. Okay?
Oh, great,
yeah,
great.
But yet now I'm already interested.
Okay.
So that's the stuff right there that you're about to share with me that people want to hear because they would never expect that. And the one thing I find in every interview that I do, everybody has a journey.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Everybody.
Absolutely.
And I think people look at us, they have a doctor, they have a PhD. You have no clue everything I've gone through to get to where I am.
Yeah, and I'm not much different than you are.
That's it. So, all right. I've got your questions pulled up. I am ready to...
Oh, shoot, I got to say that again?
Yes.
You're killing me, Dr. Holmes.
That was me being nosy.
Okay.
You don't have to, you can shorten it.
Okay, I'll shorten it. I'll try to shorten it.
But that's the gist. Because when you start telling me everything else, it's like, oh my God, she's awesome. How is it that she's done this and done this? And
I'm not that awesome. I'm no different than anyone can do it if you want to.
But we do. But you are awesome.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right. I think I'm ready to pull this down. All right. And so I'm going to hit record.
Okay.
We'll hear me count down just like I did with you. I'll do the intro, and then, like I said, the first question will be, where does it all begin for you? Oh, then I'll say, Dr. Keyonda Smith is my guest. I'll say, welcome, Dr. Smith. You'll say, thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Recording in progress.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Black Doctors Talk podcast. I am Dr. Christopher Holmes, host for this episode and member of the Black Doctoral Network. Today, I am joined by Dr. Keyonda Smith, who is an academic practitioner, researcher in digital accessibility and health consultant. Welcome, Dr. Smith. How are you doing today?
I'm making it. I'm getting by. With everything that's going on, I think I'm doing fairly well.
Well, I'm excited to have you on as a guest and have you share with all of our viewers and our listeners. So, let's jump right into it. I want you to tell them a little bit about yourself and tell them, where does it all begin for you?
Okay, well, once again, I'll try to keep it short. Originally, I'm from Camden, New Jersey. I'm a kid of the 80s.
And I see that it's coming sometimes from adults who don't feel competent about how to use it successfully, so therefore they just don't use it at all. When it becomes an issue for students because it diminishes their access to information and the way they can process and receive it.
Yes, absolutely. You got it. You got it, Dr. Holmes.
So, why is your work important while what you said at the end of the day, what you do is so important for where we are right now in the world.
Why it's important is, well, I would say first you have to think about that it's a federal requirement, right? And it's legal ramifications if they are not adhered to. And if you have, then there are often those ambulance chasers as well as people who really should be complaining. Because you don't have to be directly impacted by the inaccessible content. You can just know that the content is inaccessible, and that allows you to be able to undergo the legal proceedings. That is why it's super important right now, and we are in an environment where everyone is learning online. Therefore, more than ever, accessibility is important because we have double, triple the amount of people that are using digital technologies, and it's going to increase the chance of you getting someone in your class who may not be able to access your content or who may not be able to fully participate in the learning experience due to your pedagogical choices. These are things that we want to try to educate as well as intercept whenever possible. That way we don't have to worry about going through the Office of Civil Rights and then being accused of human rights issues.
And I think when you say that, that alone, when you talk about human rights issues, that's not something people connect with learning and education. They just don't. They see it being, when people think human rights, they think starvation or adequate living accommodations, but it's way more than that, and it's way more than that. And so I think what you do helps bring awareness to broaden people's understanding of human and civil rights. So first, just thank you, because once again, I told you before, you are the only person that I know that does this kind of work. I've never heard of it. It intrigues me, but I'm glad that it does exist because it supports actually the work that I do every day.
Yes.
And so I have somebody I can call and say, hey, I need some help here. I need some help, some clear understanding. I've got an issue with a particular environment, and there is a lack of equity in technology.
Yes.
Can you give me some free?
I like how you said free. Yes, absolutely.
On how to help there. So let's talk about this. I know you do work with government and corporate entities with healthcare and health technology. Does that look a little bit different? I know government agencies function a lot differently than we would say like in schools. It's just, I don't know if it's a hierarchy, the power structure that exists there. Do you prefer to work more in those environments versus working with the school, or do they both serve the same purpose for you?
Yeah, they both serve the same purpose for me. Training is training. Just because of my background, I typically train postgraduate professionals, like doctoral level continuing education, things like that. So I'm usually working in an environment where it's more postgraduate education. And so I have not done K-12 since Teach for America. I don't do a lot of accessibility with K-12, and I think that's where we have our EDDs. I think that's a great place for them, and I think that, you know, if we can get more EDDs interested in accessibility, that would be the space where they can really grow. As a PhD in K-12, I don't think I'm really giving the students what they need from me, and I think that personally I do better in a postgraduate environment, and I do know my EDDs do extremely well with being able to bend and flex to meet the needs of, because in K-12 you don't only have students, you also have their parents, and that's not something that I'm equipped to handle, and I haven't been trained on how to handle that. I don't know anything about that. So at the end of the day, I'm a researcher, and you know, I'm a practitioner, but I'm not good with the psychology behind education. Our educational technology professionals also would benefit in a K-12 environment. They don't do that well in higher ed just because of the need for more advanced systems. They don't really, they're not trained for it. They're not educational technologists to the point where it's needed for higher ed. It's usually for maintaining a server for the students that are on campus at a high school, not 6,000 students who live there and are using the internet 24/7 and they never leave. Like, they're not used to that kind of maintenance and management. And I've noticed a difference when working with my ed tech and IT professionals. They really had a hard time with the higher ed because of the structure of it versus K-12. So I wish we had more technology level ed tech, IT on the accessibility side who could really help out in higher ed. I think there's a need for that.
And you really hit on something when you said you had more EDs that you were working with, because I think one that's going to help with, as we talk about instructional leadership, technology usage is a big part of instruction. And number two, if we can get more kids with technology in their hands, when they graduate and go secondary, post-secondary, there are some expectations with technology that they are supposed to know how to do that they have probably never done. So not just is it a learning curve, it's a skill curve for them too, because they haven't had